in ancient times, obviously, like, it was, especially with the Native American tribes and culture, even like from North America down to South America, it was very equal to where, males and females could be of high status, and, you could have a high priest or priestess. And, shamans, I don't know how the fuck to say it. I say shaman.
I love shaman. Same.
But, it could be either one. So there was no, like, I'm not going to say stigma. There was no, like, set path for any specific person. There was no, like, okay, well, you have to be this gender in order to be this, and you have to be this in order to be that.
Well, you say that
it wasn't labeled.
I think the Nordic tribes as well.
Celts were equal as well.
Oh my gosh. Well, specifically like the Norsemen.
I mean, we don't know as much about Native American, but we do a lot of research on the European pre-Christian, and a lot of the areas. It's very much what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, like
female, no. You did not have to have a certain body set to be able to connect with the divine. You had to have a certain mindset to connect with the divine.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, correct, with the Nordic and Celtic, like, they're very much equal. And it wasn't until, like, the Judeo-Christian thing kind of came in, that the patriarchy came in and fucked everything up.
They wrote God's wife out of the Bible. I'm sorry. Still mad about that.
No, they didn't write her out. They edited that one. Because if you,
I'm sorry, she wasn't written down, edited it out.
Completely.
My bad.
But
really. I guess they could have done worse. They could have made God's wife out to be like Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
They could have horned her up. So.
Oh, okay. I was confused for a minute. I was like,
because they made Mary Magdalene a whore.
But I'm not gonna lie. This is just me. I love the idea of Jesus, Son of God, marrying a prostitute. I mean, I love it. Like Christians.
I'm down for it.
Man.
Yeah, I'm here for it. But no. I mean, if you want to go that route, there are, like, you have to go back to the Council at Nicaea, to where Emperor Constantine got all, like, the religious leaders, pagan religious leaders, were like, let's make a new religion. And that's why we have, Easter, which is really close to Ishtar, the goddess of fertility.
We literally debated.
Ishtar is a Mesopotamian goddess, Egyptian goddess.
Of fertility.
Fertility. Yeah, right.
And of spring, which is why they took it and used it for Easter.
We just our Easter episode just went down today, and it's Ostara, but also in some areas it was called Easter. In many places it was called Ostara. It had many different spellings, but it was all the same Indo-European root, just like Ishtar has that same Indo-European root.
I had no idea how to pronounce that until you did.
Oh,
because I've only read it, so thank you.
Yeah, it's always fun, like, looking at the old names. You're like, I'm gonna fuck that up, but whatever.
Amphitrite?
No, the holiday. I just call it Lugoshvegda.
Oh, Lunasa.
Not in any disrespectful way. Yeah. Again, I've been practicing for so many years now, and I just call it Lugosh.
Yeah, you know what? Try reading some of, like, the original, like, Native American names. They're like this fucking long, and there's like 3 consonants and all vowels. That's insane.
Yeah, I want to say that the Trail of Tears has a lot of the original names along with their Americanized names, and they are
hella long.
Yeah, I read the ones I can understand.
It's so sad because you said, like, with their American names, so they have the ones that are like this long, and then beside it they have John.
Well, it's like what we call, like, Chief Running Bull and stuff like that. Like what we called them.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about, like, what they changed their name to.
I don't know. It's been a very long time since I read the Trail of Tears. I just, like, when you said that about the Native American names, I was like, I remember reading those. Or, looking at them. Reading was not involved, I don't think, because reading, in my opinion, includes having some knowledge of what you're looking at. And it was strings of consonants.
Yeah. But yeah, like, Hawaiian is like that too.
Yes, it is.
Like,
but they have some really pretty names. Like,
but I have no idea how to say them. But like,
I can't the cities. You know what I mean? Like, really.
There legit was the name of like a boulevard or something. And it was all vowels, and I was like, how do I? And I was like,
I love that though. I like it. I want to.
Maybe it'd be like a moan kind of, you know.
Oh, Mary. I don't
know.
I'm just like,
Iawo.
I'm picturing. I'm picturing a bunch of O's, U's, and E's together. Like,
well, what's funny is the letter W. If it's between two vowels, it changes to a V. In Hawaiian.
Wow.
Huh.
Like
I was just talking about Hawaiian cuisine, actually. I was just talking about how their food is so similar to Japanese because they have, sushi, and then they have spam, and then they've got the rice and the seaweed. We were just talking about that on one of our episodes.
Sorry, I'm like over here like, so coward is covard. I'm like, I was trying to find a word that has W in between.
Oh no, it's in the Hawaiian language. Only like strictly in the Hawaiian language. If it's like, vowel, 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 W, vowel, 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 then like that W is pronounced as a V instead of a W.
Oh.
So
interesting.
Yeah, I was like,
that is really interesting.
Well, the only reason I even learned about that was because my sister used to live at I called it Iwa because it was EWA. And she's like, no, it's Eva. And I'm like, the fuck?
Right out of it. Same.
So yeah. But no, we're like getting like on all different kinds of topics. So but no, like to circle all the way back around.
That's kind of how our podcast.
I understand. But obviously like our ancestors had much more equal footing. And then like the Judeo-Christian shit comes in, gears it towards like straight male domination. And that's where like the women ended up, it's like, okay, well, you guys can have all that shit over there. We're going to take this. So the women were like, okay, we'll do like the pagan stuff. We'll do like the spells. We'll do the tarot readings. We'll do like the earth magic and that kind of stuff. We'll dominate that because they understood like that's where like the real power is, and not like the manufactured power of what they did.
Damn book. Damn book.
Great
you say that.
Sorry, I always say that because that way I don't have to actually like say the words and piss people off. I'm just like that damn book that tells people to live how their life.
Well, and I love what you're saying because women are very powerful in different ways. Like, for example, Bryson and I were watching some show, and it was like a like throw off to this other show. And in the other show, that's like patriarchy, and the man leads. And in this show, it's a woman, and she leads. And he's like, I don't like how she leads. She's manipulative. I'm like, no, she's leading like a woman. Right. She can't lead like a man. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny about that though is that when women do it, it's seen as manipulative, but if a man does it, it's seen as strategic.
Right, exactly.
And I'm like, they're doing the same fucking thing,
right?
And that's where like that masculine shit kind of comes in and just kind of screws everything up. So
right.
Nope, I understand.
But no, for me, for my experience has been that because I'm a male reader and because I'm not like in it just for money. Like there's a lot of males in the crystal community, but they're there just to make money. They're like, oh, well, you can use this one for abundance and you can use this one for this. And you can just straight up tell it's like, you're in it for the money. It's like, you're just, and you know what? That's fine. Just don't be fake about it. Like, hey, I'm just here selling it.
Right.
But then you go to like another part of the spiritual community, like tarot, and it's very female dominated, which is completely fine. I'm like, all right, cool. And what I found interesting for me was that because I'm male, people were more intrigued. They're like, what's he going to do?
It's funny because what I thought you were going to say is, well, you found one in the tarot world. There were just as many women who were only in it for the money because it's so true. And then you went somewhere else.
Well,
no, there's a lot of those too, but
I'm genuinely curious. Do you think that you've experienced discrimination as a tarot reader who is a male, and people see automatically that you're a male and they're like, no, thank you. I hope it's okay to ask and not like so controversial topic.
Actually, which has been really weird because I've always been very much about inclusivity, where it's like I accept everyone as they are. That's it. And then if you show me you're a dick or an asshole, then it's like, all right, then
behavior based. Judge based on behavior and nothing else. Absolutely.
Right. And so it really took me back, like the first time that I had somebody come at me sideways about being a male reader, and I was like, the hell?
Like
where'd that come from?
Well, no, I'm gonna be real with you. This is really eye-opening because now as I sit here and think, if I see two people going live who's doing tarot readings, who am I most likely to go with? And it would probably be the woman, and it's not a conscious choice. That's totally wrong.
It's a subconscious bias.
Thank you.
I'm on the other side of that board because like I was following somebody on Instagram called Awakened Starseed, and I loved her page, and then I found out she was a he, and I was like, whoa, that's so cool. It's a guy. Oh my gosh, because like I love the stuff he shares. I relate to it really well.
Oh, you never saw their face?
Right, not until then. And he was doing a TikTok or whatever, and I was like, oh shit, this dude's a dude, not a chick. Oh my gosh. And like it wrongly, as you said, like this was wrong of me, but it made me appreciate his page even more because he was a guy, and I was surprised that there was a guy with a page like that. Because I like, as far as like pages that I align with the things they share, like I align with Awakened Starseed just as much as I do a little hippie, a little hood. And it's like,
well,
that's like big for me. Like the way you were with some of those.
Like, I want to be honest too. I hope you don't take offense when I say that because I'm admitting
it's hard to offend me. Just so you
know. Maybe there is some sort of like bias there that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
It's
like well, and I mean, again, I have the same bias, but from the other side of the standpoint, because I probably would get a reading from a male tarot reader, not from novelty in a rude way, but from the novelty perspective of, what's a male tarot reader like? How does he interact versus a female reader? Do I, whatever.
Well, and I
again, not novelty, and I don't mean like that's just the word that comes to mind.
Look,
and I don't
get offended.
Well, the best way to fix it is to see it and acknowledge it, like, hey, and like it was never something like purposely like, ew, that's a man. It was just, I'd probably more likely go to the female. Why is that? And that's because of the things that you're mentioning now. And I'm glad you're mentioning them because now I can see that and be like, okay, no, that's not okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's not.
It's a subconscious bias.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
And now that we've drawn attention to that,
it's not something it's like, well, that's a guy, so fuck that. It's just that
you're used to the female reader. It's more familiar to you. It seems like that's the way to go versus the male reader.
Right.
And it's just conditioning. It's not even necessarily bias, it's conditioning, period.
Exactly.
By media and by pop culture. Like, how often do you see it? Okay, now I will say there is this show on Hulu that is the counter to what I'm about to say, but how often do you see a witchy show about dudes or a tarot reader show about dudes, except for Eyes Wide Shut? Not Eyes Wide Shut, that's a fucked up ass movie, my bad. What's it called? It's on Hulu, and it's got a male tarot reader, and he's really cool. Yeah, he's really great. I love the actor in and of itself. So I was watching that show no matter what. But it's on Hulu. It's about a male tarot reader, and if you know the show Burn Notice, it's the same guy from Burn Notice.
I love that guy.
He's
so cute.
No, he looks like a grown-up Cabbage Patch. He does. He looks like a Cabbage Patch doll. He does. Magic Mike, what? Burn Notice.
Yeah, but he's also in Magic Mike.
I've never seen Magic Mike. Right? I've never seen Magic Mike, so I could not tell you.
I haven't seen it either, but
only woman in America who hasn't.
but you know, and also the media portrayal, like you said, they did one in American Horror Story. Love the freaking apocalypse. Love apocalypse. But they introduced male witches.
Oh, and they were the bad guys. That's right. I was like, what are you talking about? I did not know.
They were the bad guys.
But, and you know what? Because from like the early 2000s or late 90s, there are a couple of witchy movies about guys, but they're always bad guys. They're never like it. They're all Nancy. They're all Nancy from The Craft, not the other guys and Nancy. They're all Nancy. Like they're all bad guys. Well, that's not true. I guess a couple of guys in this one movie, but it was like a male version of The Craft.
To be fair, like Harry Potter's like.
I guess,
but it's wizards. It's wizards.
But again, like to bring it back to tarot readers, you never see that in pop culture outside of that one show I saw it on. And low key, like the show's like, this is all fake.
Now that I think about it, True Blood has the what the heck is his name? It starts with an L.
Look, anyway, just say what else he's in, like I do.
Well, but he's like very feminine gay. So that's also kind of very stereotypical, I think.
If you're gonna,
right.
Like you can't have a masculine man do it. You gotta have
like,
a feminine.
Talking about like media portrayal, if you go to like that show Charmed, like all the demons were almost always male.
Oh yeah, beautiful women, and you've got their nipples showing, and of course they're gonna be fighting a bad guy, a sexy bad guy. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it makes sense. Well, and then what's her face starts dating the one.
Fucking love Cole.
Dude, Cole, that's his name. Because on Nick Tech, his name's Christian, and so I was like, what is he on Charmed?
My husband and I actually like randomly at times will be like Leo. Every fucking episode, it was Leo.
But yeah, like the guys, like in metaphysical or witchy or pagan, usually you don't have a protagonist male. You have an antagonist male almost always. Generally speaking, you have an antagonist male that even if he is spiritual in any which way, it comes from that I want to rule over you patriarchal standpoint, like in the new Sabrina, Mr. Blackwood, Father Blackwood, he's you know, they're following the book of Satan, so it's like anti-Christian stuff. So it's like they're basically like Christians that follow the devil, which I didn't like.
I know it was weird.
It was weird, but like even Father Blackwood, who's like he's the head of the witches' church, he's still a shitbag. Like that, you rarely have males portrayed well in the kinds of things that are on the esoteric realm.
Well, and I'm taking notes now too because I'm like I write in my spare time, so I'm like, damn, maybe I need to add that. Like get some positive male witchy spiritual, you know, because like damn, you are so right.
I'm not gonna. I don't condone it, obviously, but I understand because if like the spiritual community is, you know, female dominated, and because those women they had their power taken away and they were oppressed for, you know, centuries upon centuries by the church and other religions. It's like, I get it. You want to take down that patriarchy. So I understand it.
Because like here's the thing, like I get that viewpoint, but we as a collective, we have to change that because it's not the patriarchy punishing the women, it's the whatever you want to call the rich class that treats the rest of us like fodder for their machines. Like, sorry, but I know you're not a Rick and Morty fan, but they put it perfectly when they're like, you know, we're born into, like, the moment you're born, you owe money. You can't be born for free in this country. Right. You can't be born for free. You can't live for free. You can't live off the land in this country for free. You have to
somebody owns
make money to add to the machine. You are fodder for the machine. So it doesn't matter what your gender is.
When you think you're a little higher up, like you've got the little pastors and they're like, oh, I'm higher up. Then they get this big head like, yeah, I'm part of it. But really there's somebody even more.
I'm not even talking about religion though. I'm talking about society as a whole. Like the whole collective unconscious needs to flip that narrative from women have been oppressed to we have all been oppressed by the powers that be for so long, and nothing's going to change. Like, we can't be fighting against each other. It can't be women holding men down because men held us down for so long. Right, it's got to be, we are all lifting each other up so that we can get up there and tell those guys that think they can hold us down that we're not fodder for their machines anymore.
Well, that's part of their.
No, I get what you're saying. You know,
well, that's also. Go ahead. I'm not gonna.
No, please go ahead. No.
Well, I understand that because that's part of like the elite's plan, right? It's like we're all fighting. We're all spending so much energy fighting each other that we never take the moment.
We usually call them the government.
Well, what's funny is there's actually like 2 levels of the elite. There's the elite and the uber elite, right? So there's like the 1%, and then there's like the 0.1%. And if you really like sit down and trace it all down, like trace it all back, there's maybe like 6 companies that own everything in the world.
Is Bill Gates one of them?
Probably.
He's actually part of. Well, he's part of the elite, not the super elite. Like, you got to go to like the Koch brothers. Fuck, who are some of the other ones? Johnson and Johnson family, like the Johnson family.
Johnson and Johnson.
I gotta switch body oil.
We only buy Baby Magic in my house. We do not buy Johnson.
Well, no, it's really if you take the time to like trace, like there's umbrella corporations to where like there's one, and then there's all these ones that operate underneath it, like
Disney.
Won't give them my money.
Like Kraft Foods, right? Kraft
Foods.
God! Don't you dare!
No. Okay, wait.
My husband will only eat that macaroni and cheese, Kevin. I don't know if I can switch.
It's okay, but like Kraft Foods, they own PepsiCo, which owns Lay's, and you know that's like a shit ton of stuff right there.
Who, like, I gotta ask now because you apparently know all this stuff that I'm gonna learn later because now I want to know on the detailed part because I know the rest of that. But who owns Monsanto? Who owns Monsanto?
What is Monsanto?
They're the evil food company that will take a farmer's crops if they use seed from the stuff that was grown last year because Monsanto owns
my
all of
mom's
those
been
seeds.
Telling me all of
Monsanto is the I'm sorry, this is your show.
No.
I will stop.
I want to say Kraft actually owns them.
Yeah, that's why I asked right now because I was like, I can stop buying Kraft Blue Box if they own Monsanto because you know what? Monsanto.
And that's why I'm like Disney. Disney owns everything. Are they like lower elite? Because I'm like, they own Fox, they own Marvel, they own fucking their own Pixar. They own.
So who owns Disney? Because I don't think Disney's in that upper elite. I think they're owned by somebody.
He's still alive.
Anti-Semitic.
I want to say it's Viacom.
What? Somebody owns Disney?
Oh, absolutely.
I want to say it's like Viacom because Viacom owns like MTV and they own a whole bunch of movie studios. They own all kinds of shit. That's what I'm saying.
You know what? I guess I just have to only have indie podcasts from now on. Indie podcasts from here on out. That's all my entertainment. I just can't feed into the machine anymore.
But yeah, you can't really. Well, you can't really like avoid it at this point.
I know. No, it's crazy. So, I know.
Because you think like, oh, I'm.
Value.
That would be Walmart. I don't.
Somebody owns Walmart.
No, actually, I think like Walmart is like one of the outliers to where they.
I Walmart though.
I used to deliver their newspaper, like the corporate headquarters. I used to live down there.
Start in Bella Vista.
Bentonville.
I'm sorry.
Bella Vista. Yeah, we used to live there.
I stayed there. I was a live-in nanny, and I stayed there, and they have a nice Walmart.
Oh, you were an au pair?
And then we drove through there are these people. They have these amazing, huge houses.
Did you shop? You came across the border into Missouri to shop, right? Because it's way cheaper when you cross the border.
I don't know. I wanted to go there. Like
you probably did. I don't think that Bella Vista has its own Walmart even now because they have
a museum as well.
But in Bentonville itself. Oh yeah.
They have these like big, huge houses from people who like were the beginning of Walmart. Yep. Oh my God, they were having an estate sale. Hell yeah, I went in there. I got some nice shit. One of their their like bathrooms. I was like, can I use your bathroom? And like the sink was like a dragon.
Nice.
Like I'm like, damn.
The was it Walton family?
It's Sam Walton.
Yeah, they have good taste. Dragons.
I don't know who it was.
Look, I want protection. Look, I always want protection in the bathroom. Dragons in my bathroom sounds good to me.
Right.
Well, you'd be surprised, like how many of the upper echelon, like celebrities, the like Hollywood elite, all them. You'd be surprised how many of them have readers and astrologists that they go to.
I would not be surprised at all. I like 1,000,000% already believe that.
I absolutely do. Right. I definitely
I believe you 100,000,000%.
And like that's my goal. That's like my goal of like world domination. I'm gonna like get to that point where like Hollywood's coming to me to get their readings.
Gwyneth Paltrow, reach out to me.
No,
I will help you name things better.
She's so weird.
Look, I said I'll help her name shit better.
She came out.
Yeah, that candle.
Look, I'll help her do better.
Look, the chick has a candle. What was it named? Like it smells like my vagina or something. I'm like, I don't want to smell that.
I know. I will help her do better. Gwyneth Paltrow, come to me. I will help you, bitch.
Well, you say you don't want to smell that, but I'm over here like, how many people do? And
how much money she made on that? Plus, like, let's be clear. If I am Gwyneth Paltrow and I'm putting out a candle that smells like my vagina, you know that thing's gonna smell like apples and cherries and shit.
I know. I hear what you were gonna say. I was terrified at what you were gonna say because I was over here like, what? So do we have to like sit up in like this gynecologist like thing? And people come in and they're like, oh, I'm getting like a minty.
No. One of those perfume tester guys. All right, which aroma do you smell first? No.
I smell clove cigarettes.
Like vanilla.
Right, yeah, they're gonna be like, man, her pussy smells like cherry blossom. It's nice. In the summertime, it's this refreshing, like sweet pea smell.
Oh, that chick bathes with stuff from Bath and Body, then, huh?
Or it's the exact opposite, and it's like the most horrible thing you've ever
But again, if Gwyneth Paltrow comes to me, I will help you. We'll do better.
Yeah, the name of the company is just horrible to begin with. Goop. I'm like, really?
I forgot.
Because like, okay, so
starts her day with alkaline water and a spritz of lemon. Well, it's not alkaline water when you add lemon.
Yeah, because it kind of like.
Just get fucking water, bitch. Oh my god. Sorry, right? Kevin.
Oh no, I mean I get it. I'm like alkaline, acidic. I'm like, if you add acid to it, then you're making it neutral. What the fuck?
Right. Like,
oh my god. I'm sorry, I just really like a lot of Gwyneth Paltrow movies. That's why she was the first one I said.
Plus, like, man.
Again, she made a vagina candle. So I feel like of all celebrities I could help, she's the one. I can help you. I know I can help you.
I'm not to continue the vagina talk, but I'm just like, bro, what if like the wick was like a tampon? Oh god, I just feel like...
Does it burn red?
I don't know.
Oh god.
Does it melt maybe?
That's what I mean. Like, you get down, now it's red. Oh shit, gotta get a new vagina candle. Better mind.
3 weeks actually, but yeah.
I mean,
you know what? If nothing else, this is an entertaining fucking podcast for people to watch.
I love it.
If you haven't listened to us yet, this is how it goes on our show. I mean, yeah, we brought you into Witches Talking Tarot instead of you bringing us into the Rook and Raven. We're very sorry.
Oh.
I do love your name, by the way, the Rook and Raven. So where did you come up with that name?
Our cats.
Oh,
nice!
Like my wife had Raven, who was female, and I had Rook, who was a male. They were both shelter kittens, and both like almost complete black. Like Raven had this very, very small patch of white on like it legit was like 3 hairs. On her
that's
chest.
how my Erebus is. He has like random 3 white hairs on his chest.
And unfortunately, they're no longer with us.
Sorry to hear
like,
that.
well, Raven, I want to say she had an aneurysm from being pregnant. It was like a pregnancy complication. And Rook, he is no longer with us because he had a umbilical hernia. And I mean, they were with us for years, but you know, then they crossed that rainbow bridge. So
so sorry.
But yeah, that was a we didn't have any animals for a while after that. But now we have 2 calicos, Pixie and Cassiopeia.
Love it.
Well, oddly enough, Cassie, I named her because our oldest, he wanted a cat. And we're like, all right, cool. So, you know, Jackie, my wife, she was ready for a new kitten after, you know, Raven. And I went and picked them both up. And like I had a pick of the litter. And those are the only 2 that came up and like nuzzled me. I was like, you 2.
Yep.
But
yeah, that's how I do pets. You choose me.
And what's funny is Pixie is you guys will understand this. Like Pixie is a human cat, has a very human personality, right? Cassie, I ended up naming her because our son had her for like 3 weeks, and I was like, so what's her name? I don't know, dude. And I was like, I looked at her, and I was like, Cassiopeia? And she's like, all right, cool. That's your name. Hi, Cassie.
Yeah.
So that's that. But Cassie's a cat. Pixie's the human cat. So, because you gotta know how that goes. Like,
I understand that.
Yeah. So Pixie, when she was a kitten, like every night I rub my wife's like legs, because she has POTS, so it helps relieve some of it. And Pixie would always, she'd be like sleeping up on Jackie's pillow. I would sit down, like, you know, start rubbing her legs, and Pixie would be like, ooh, and like climb up my back to sit here on my shoulder.
I love pirate kitties.
But yeah, she was like a little parrot kitten. And she would just sit there. And now, like, Jackie's a little mad because she likes me more. Like Pixie likes me more. But so she's our cat. Cassie gonna Cassie. She does whatever the fuck she wants. I mean, so
yeah, our black cat's like that. He loves to spend time on my altars before they were on on shelves on the wall. Like the first week that he was in our house, the black one with the 3 little white hairs, every time I go looking for him, he'd just be on my altar looking at me.
Because he knew. He knew.
Yeah. Like that little familiar motherfucker.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how we got the name of the business, the Rook and Raven. So named after our cats. I actually started it because I had a corporate job, got laid off, couldn't find anything even close to home. Like my corporate job was 5 minutes down the road. I worked Monday through Friday and had the weekends off. Friday was like a half day. So I had gotten used to being close to home, so I could like go home for lunch, say hi to the kids, whatever. And then like after I got let off, I'm like going all these interviews are like an hour away, and like the hours are longer, the pay is lower, and I'm like, what the fuck?
And you got a 2-hour commute on top of it. Ugh.
Yeah. So the whole way it even really got started was I've always like enjoyed crystals, and I would get a few pieces here and there, like big pieces of like labradorite, selenite, whatever, and I would sell them, and make some money. There was like a little side hustle, to kind of supplement. But after getting laid off and not be able to find anything close to what I was, making, I was like, let me dump a little money into this. So I took like my last unemployment check, bought like a bunch of crystals, and quadrupled my money pretty quickly.
Nice. Congrats.
So,
That's awesome.
so then from there, I would just go live like once or twice a week, and I will always remember this. Like my best time, like my best sale or whatever, like night, I was live for like 2 hours, made 1,500.
I just have to say that live's really like,
Damn.
Yeah, nothing compared to yours, but
We love crystals.
right.
But
That's awesome.
as I was selling more of them, I was like, I need to know what they do. So I started learning more about them. I started doing wire wrap jewelry, and
that is so hard. Did you make it yourself?
Yeah.
Or did you purchase it pre-wire wrapped?
What I would do is get like cabochons or even raw crystals, like small ones. I would buy the wire, made a wrap. There you go.
It's hard. I've tried. I can't, but I guess maybe I'm not.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, I like that.
I love the look. I went to a class. They were teaching how to wire wrap. My son didn't look like a son. I gave it to my husband as a gift, and I'm pretty sure it's lost.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
I could not.
The artist in me is like, that's right up my alley. If I'm gonna make jewelry,
It hurts my hands.
No,
I
understand.
Yeah, like I started off really simple, just like do a simple bail, simple wrap, and honestly, I'm going to be getting back into doing that. I actually just ordered about $400 worth of cabochons. Yeah,
that's gonna turn into 3,000.
If I do it right, probably like 5.
Nice.
All right. Put that into the universe.
Yeah,
he will do it right.
Absolutely.
And I get copper wire and sterling silver in case anybody reacts to copper, or if they react to silver, it's like, okay, well, you have a choice. But I started doing the wire wraps, and I was like, let me see how far I can take this, and I started doing like some really intricate ones. There's like some people like make these pieces that it's more about the wire work, and it's really gorgeous, and I completely respect it and appreciate it, but I'm like, you're hiding the crystal.
Don't take away from the crystal.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's the point of the piece. But I did like some really crazy ones. I made a thing called like a waterfall pendant, where you take like graduated stones, like bigger to smaller, so they just like hang like right there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, were they all connected pieces? Because I had a friend that made me one like that, where all of the string, it was one long string that she made a 3-layer necklace out of. Yeah, it got tangled once, and I've never been able to untangle it because it's all one big string.
Well, mine, it was just a pendant. It was a waterfall pendant. So it was one continuous wire wrap, but had several stones in it. And I made one, it was actually slices of watermelon tourmaline. And I had them turned sideways to where you could actually see like the watermelon color.
Yeah.
That's cool. But around it was a heart chakra pendant, because well, the two colors for the heart chakra are green and pink. So watermelon tourmaline is like a master crystal for that. So what I did is I used the watermelon tourmaline along with like rose quartz beads and did them around it, almost like if you like picture an atom, it has like the electrons around it. It kind of looked like that.
Got you.
But that was such a pain in the ass to do.
So you don't mind me asking, how much do you usually sell those for?
I'm actually kind of cheap. I would sell it for maybe like $30-$40.
That's not bad for a wire drop.
No, because I'm over here like, damn, I need a root chakra one. I do. That's not even me being silly. That's like, I like for it to help with grounding and shit.
So you would need one of hematite and red jasper would look good.
Right, that's what well, the root chakra is grounding, and then just certain absolutely. Oh my gosh, I will look into that when you have those available. Absolutely.
Well, I actually ordered a material that I have never seen before, and it's coming out of India. You've seen sunstone, right? You know what sunstone looks like? Okay, and you know what rainbow moonstone looks like, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's like the white one that has like blue flash.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking. I'm waiting to see where you're going with
this.
I
love rainbow
intrigued.
Well, they're both feldspars, and feldspar is like a layered crystal. And it'll have like that shine, that shimmer to it in between some of the layers. That's what like labradorite is. That's what moonstone is. Well, this material is a combination of orange sunstone and rainbow moonstone. And I saw it and I was like, I need you in my life, because
I'm a celestial bitch.
I'm very curious. Right? But I love moonstone.
Because you know, with that, like, even without,
but sunstone and moonstone together,
bringing us
masculine
back
and feminine.
to what we were talking about.
I'm sitting here going like, 'cause every time I honor the moon these days, I honor the sun as well, because that whole balance thing, like, I love me the moon, but the sun brings me fucking warmth and grows my food. So like, I honor you too.
And when I think the sun, I think courage and strength, and when I think the moon, I think wisdom. I don't know. I just have my own like.
I'm with you though.
Well, metaphysically speaking, the sun is like the physical embodiment of divine masculine energy, and the moon is the embodiment of divine feminine. So when I saw that stone, I was like, oh my God, both of them together. And I was like, I can't wait to hold one, because I'm going to go nuts whenever I'm like holding that in my hand. I'm like, oh, we're going to have a nice long chat.
Do you like your little meditation?
I don't know if my face fully conveys my awe at this. Right. I'm just like.
No, it sounds amazing. The energy alone.
Right. Well, just so a piece of natural stuff. This is a naturally created stone? Yes. So a piece of natural substance that embodies the properties of sun and moon together in a natural piece, like that is just like my
I know
there. Like, god damn,
I know I'm gonna find like I know I'm gonna go through all those cabs. I'm gonna find one that's mine, and I'm like, that's gonna be the first wire wrap I do. I'm like, yeah, buddy, that's me.
I feel that. I can, definitely.
But yeah, that's how I kind of got to the, and we, like, sales wise, we're doing really well. Like 2019, I almost did 100,000 by myself.
Oh my
God, that's amazing.
Dude, I thought my 2,000 was impressive. I'm embarrassed.
Oh no, I mean, you have to baby steps, Maddie. Just baby steps, right?
Yeah, plus like you invested like your entire unemployment check, right? Like that's a lot of money invested in stones, right?
Actually, no, because I didn't get a whole lot. I think I got like 350. So
so for my frugal self, that is a lot of money to invest in stones. Like, I'm very frugal, sir. So to me, like, that is a large investment, $350. But like to quadruple it, or
I think that's
what have you, like I can't remember what you said you turned that initial investment into, but like that's awesome. Like that's an amazing.
And was it's a lot through your Instagram lives? Is that it, or like
just Facebook Live? Like, it was just me. Like, I did the sales, I did the packaging, all of it. And I want to say like the number in the end for 2019 was like 92,000 in sales.
You have inspired me as a small business owner, sir.
I'm
like, damn.
That's still what kind of sucks. Though, is like after you pay yourself and like you get new inventory and like reinvest it. It's like,
for sure.
You're not swimming in the money. It's like, I did that in sales, but
No,
it's still like that's still quite an accomplishment. And so, do you do your tarot readings and sell your stones at the same time in the same lives, or do you keep them separate?
I separate those because, like I said, the business was doing really well, but then COVID.
Yeah, I get that. I couldn't get some of my materials for months. Remember that?
It wasn't even the materials. It's that people like crystals were a luxury purchase. So
absolutely.
People had to be like, okay, well, I don't have, spending money like I used to. It's like, hey, I got to get toilet paper. I got to get paper towels. I got to get food.
You got to find toilet paper.
Well, I will say 2020, or was it 2021? The best month that I had was the month that first stimulated. 2020. Yeah. That was a good month.
Yeah. Them stimmy checks.
Right? I got me some crystal money now.
But after that's like kind of struggled. I mean, I still have like a fair amount of like large pieces that people just didn't have the money for. I'm sure they'll sell eventually. But because that really kind of dried up, I actually almost closed the doors on the Rook and Raven entirely. Because
obviously you didn't, because you're here.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I didn't have I couldn't do like readings very well because I just wasn't in the mindset. It's like I was just kind of cut off. So I couldn't make money doing readings. I wasn't making money doing crystal sales. So it's like I had to find something, and I've kind of supplemented by selling like my sports cards over the years. Because growing up, I had a lot of sports cards, and
sucks, but unless it's something you wanted to do,
it's okay for now. It's still supplementing things for now, but my goal is to like get away from that because I have a stash of cards that are gonna be for my kids after I die. Like, they'll each get like a binder full of cards, and it's like, hey, you can probably buy a few houses with this by the time I'm dead.
Oh my gosh. I hope Pokemon's like that.
Shit, I wish I still had my Marvel cards. They'd probably go like bananas.
Marvel?
Yeah, I used to collect all the XMen Marvel. Like, they had artistry cards. Like, they had the regular cards for the superheroes, and then they had the artistry ones. And I had all of them because I loved X-Men.
I loved that cartoon growing up.
Oh, yeah. Same. Show? Oh. Gambit, like I love me some Gambit and Rogue.
I'm not gonna lie. It's like I always wanted to like kiss Rogue just to find out if I would die or not.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. See, I'm not a big X-Men person. I like Marvel, but I like the superhero part of Marvel versus X-Men. I did watch them growing up with my grandfather. Was never the biggest fan, but you say I wanted to know if I could
kiss her.
Yeah. So I'm like,
she's got the red hair with the white stripe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I wanted to be Rogue, and I wanted to marry Gambit, and I always wanted Rogue and Gambit to like officially be a thing.
Does Sophie Turner play Rogue in one of the newer ones, or is she somebody else? There's like this one lady who like she like stands there, and then there's like.
No, you're talking about that's Jean Grey, the chick from.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like Jean Grey.
Yeah, it kind of tripped me out because we were late watching Game of Thrones because we tried several times to get into it, and we just couldn't. And then we finally did. And it didn't click until like the third season. Like, son of a bitch, that's Jean Grey.
I want to see that one because she's one of my favorite actresses. I think she did really well in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But it's like, do I have to watch the others if I watch that one? I just know Jennifer Lawrence is like naked blue.
Oh, really? She's Mystique? Nice.
Yep.
I might watch the new ones.
Yeah.
I love me some Mystique.
Yeah, you'll have to start with.
Mom, I think. I'm not sure. It's been
I don't think so.
Time.
We like Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
I like Tom Holland. Like, out of all the Spider-Man, like I like Tom Holland. Like, Tom's my pick for like Spider-Man.
He is the best Spider-Man. He is Peter Parker. I mean, look at him. He looks like some awkward 15-year-old. But
I felt that way about Topher Grace when he was Spider-Man. Was it Topher Grace?
No, it was Tobey Maguire.
My bad. Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man for nostalgia purposes. Now, for Marvel purposes, Tom Holland's the best pick in my opinion.
Yeah.
But damn, I love Tobey Maguire. Oh my god,
I liked him.
Spider-Man 3. He's walking through. He's got Venom. He's like, hey.
But
ladies.
I'm super old school. Michael Keaton's my Batman.
Oh, I like Michael Keaton. I don't like.
There's talk of him reprising the role.
That would be cool.
There's talk of Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. I'm like,
Batman all grown up.
Well, Robert
Right?
Pattinson was Batman in this new one. Apparently, he's looked a really good one. But I'm gonna be real with you. He looks like an okay Batman, but he does not look like Bruce Wayne to me.
no.
Like,
No.
Maybe Bruce is like bastard kid, but
Like, as unpopular of a thought process as I'm sure this is, my only backup Batman is Val Kilmer.
you know what? At least you didn't go with nipples, George Clooney. Okay.
oh my god, I love that.
No, like when she said that Pattinson is not Bruce Wayne, I like pictured Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne, and I was like, I get it because he's not, but Val Kilmer is. Val Kilmer is Bruce Wayne. Val Kilmer is Mad Mortigan.
Oh, I love Matt
Yes.
Mortigan. Okay.
Yes, that's Val Kilmer, but he's always blonde otherwise. When he's Mad Mortigan, he's not blonde, but everywhere else, he's pretty much
Yeah,
always
he
blonde.
looks best with brown hair. But I think we all can agree that the best Joker is, in fact, Jack Nicholson.
hands down.
Right? Tell me you agree. Tell me you agree.
You're about to pull some Joaquin Phoenix out, or are you
Are
just
you gonna
exaggerating
say
me?
Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger. Heath
I
Ledger.
can dig it.
Yeah.
I get it. He played a good.
He was a
psychopath.
good in Batman.
Like-
he was. He
Like,
was a good
I remember
Batman.
where I was when the news broke that Heath Ledger died. I was like,
Oh,
it's like I was at work at Dave & Buster's of all places, and
nice.
like the news broke, and I just stood there and I'm like,
That was
What?
really nice. You know. I
was like,
get
what?
it. It was sad, but he did really good as Jack Nicholson, or as the Joker.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
a great Joker. I mean, I love Jack Nicholson personally because I grew up with
Well,
that.
it's two different-
Joker.
well, it's two different
But
styles though, because like the
They
Tim
were,
Burton
exactly.
Batman.
That's why I feel like I get it where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I love the campy,
Yeah,
you know,
The Tim Burton
cartoon
one
version.
was very campy, right?
Yeah.
It was-
I
it
did.
was-
I love campy movies. Like I love campy.
But
Well-
Fucking
let's
love
be
campy.
clear, I'm a sucker for a good psychopath in movies. I'm not gonna lie. Fucking love them. Love Khan from Star Trek. Like, I love a good bad guy. And the Joker's a good fucking
He
guy.
is.
I
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
Joffrey from Game of Thrones. Not Ramsay. He's a bad guy. He's a bad.
Maddie, we can't talk anymore. You like
No.
Joffrey.
He's
Oh
a
my
fucking
God.
bad guy. I mean,
You know what?
Oh,
It's
not
okay.
just-
I get it, but
like, I
will-
don't care.
I will be completely honest. When that little bastard died, my wife and I were like, "Fuck yes!"
yes, right.
Oh,
But in the books,
100%.
he's like a little 12-year-old, and it makes so much more sense that he's like a spoiled little brat. But like,
It's so sick though.
I know, but like Ramsay Bolton, let's be clear,
Oh,
is a
fucking
good
piece of shit.
fucking bad guy.
Yeah,
But he's so good at being a bad guy, I
Mhm.
can't even pretend to like him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm pretty sure that actor went on to play Hitler in a movie, which makes sense because he's
he's
a
been
good-
typecast.
Yeah, right. He's been typecast now.
You know, and it sucks because before he was typecast, I saw him in a lot of other shows, and he was typecast as the nerdy gets picked on all the
Really?
time kid, which is why I think he probably wanted that Ramsay Bolton role.
Right.
Just because he was always typecast as like the kid that got beat up. Like he was on this one show on Hulu. It was from the UK and they were all superheroes. Ironically, bringing it back to the Marvel thing. But yeah, like they all got affected by some like solar flare or some shit, made all these like 5 degenerate kids that were all in like juvie and made them all like superheroes.
And he was a nerd.
And he was the nerd and everybody picked on him and like
Is that
the other guys like made fun of him and he liked the girls, but the girls were like, ew, not you.
is
Yeah.
that
So
a,
he's
was
like,
that
I'm a badass now.
Right. That's why I'm
I
like, man,
make
if
the
he got
girls want
if
me.
he is now typecast as that, I think he probably prefers it to the other typecast he used to be.
Well,
Yeah.
Game of Thrones goes with the tarot, I think, a little bit, because my favorite deck that I use on my tarot lives on Facebook is, in fact, a Game of Thrones deck. Everybody loves it. Every time I go live, somebody's like, "Is that a Game of Thrones deck?" I'm like, "Yes, it is." The
Yep.
lovers is like Jon and Ygritte. I was not very happy with that. I wish the lovers was Cersei and Jaime, just because that's the whole point of the show. Their love affair fucked everything up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everybody looks at me weird when I say that.
It wasn't even an affair. That was like a straight up relationship.
Right. Like, but like, you know, Queen of Swords is Cersei Lannister, which makes sense with the reversal of the Queen of Swords. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to think of another one that goes really well with like
the Eight of Swords. The no matter which way you go, you're gonna get cut on your way out with
Brienne surrounded by the swords. It's really cool. Brienne of Tarth is strength, which I really liked as well. You know, the devil is Ramsay Bolton. So like it's a fan deck. I love it. Everybody else seems to really enjoy it, and it's fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
I mean, hey, you go with what connects, right?
Right. So. I mean, I have a couple other decks, but that was the one that I was doing with my live, and everybody always says something about it, like, "Holy shit, is that Tyrion Lannister?" It is.
Oh, well, no, like I have or had a collection of vintage decks.
Really?
Yeah, like the oldest one. Actually, I take that back. We do still have a couple of them. My wife kept the original Rider Waite, which I want to say was from the 50s.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But then like some of the decks were like 1973, 74, 80s.
Very cool. I have some shirts from then. I do. I have clothing from that same year.
I'm trying to think. I think my oldest shirt will be a Smashing Pumpkins one. There's only 1,500 of them in existence.
I love Smashing Pumpkins. We were just looking.
Yeah, we were the other day. Or I guess it was like 2 weeks ago. But yeah.
It's 22 years old now, I think.
Well, my oldest pieces of clothing were gifted to me by my mother. So I have a shirt from the 1970s that's like it's got hands on it like this with an eye in the center, and it's fucking badass. I love that shirt. Like every time at school when we had like dress like from the 70s day, wore that shirt every time. My kids have all done that as well. Like, which is why it has holes in it that I need to mend. But I've got a 25th anniversary Who shirt from the 80s when they did their 25th anniversary tour that my mom gave me for my 25th birthday because I loved that shirt and I always stole it when I was growing up because like the woman on it, she's all in blue and she's clothed, but at the same time, she's just an outline. So it looks like she could be naked and they have her nipples like painted on it with the outline. So it looks like she's a naked flying lady. So I wore that to school all the time to like get away with something, you know, which ironically my oldest daughter did as well. You know, shit runs deep in families.
Right.
And then I have a Pink Floyd shirt from the year I was born because my parents went to a Pink Floyd concert.
Okay, so what is the design on that one?
The Pink Floyd one? It's the triangle with the
rainbow.
The rainbow.
I had seen where somebody was like, "Oh, I love your LGBTQ like shirt," and it's really Pink Floyd.
Please tell me you slapped them. Like my God.
I'm trying not to be offensive and upset, but no, that's Pink Floyd, ma'am or sir.
That's like Dark Side of the Moon, bitch.
Like whatever. That is Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, that's Dark Side of the Moon, I think. That
cover?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's the Dark Side of the Moon album. Thank you. Yeah.
I
don't have any tarot decks that old for sure.
No, I definitely do not. But like, I have a couple.
It's
like
cool to have vintage tarot decks.
Right? Like I've got. I guess I don't have the like Rider Waite version because I don't really like the illustration. I understand that it's like very like traditional. So I guess the ones I have are like I have an herbal one. I have a fairy deck. I have my Game of Thrones deck. I have a Jane Austen deck because I'm a big fan of like. I like fan decks. And then I have another herbal one as well. Did you not know I have a Jane Austen deck?
No, I just had a thought. I'll share after you're done talking.
Oh, I just like, love it.
Like, popped in my head.
Like Mr. Darcy is the Emperor. I say it like strong masculine energy. And it's cool.
Yeah. My first deck was my green witch. Well, my first deck was gifted to me, but I never had a connection with it. And then I got myself the Green Witch tarot deck, and I loved it. Like, that was some sassy fucking cards. And the thought that I just had is, I don't use that deck. I got another deck because I discovered one day when I decided to just go through my deck and look at all the cards in it, I discovered there were 2 cards missing. And Maddie over here said, you're going to find the 2 cards that are missing are going to mean something to you. And you're going to find them like when the time is right. And I'm missing the Empress and the Chariot.
So the Chariot is like moving forward, but having to like go.
Yes. And the look on my face was realizing that. So you were talking about your cats earlier. My dog that I've had for 16 years, she passed away on Monday.
I'm sorry.
And I'm wondering if I'm going to find my cards now because I have to let her go and move past.
I could see that for the Chariot.
Because those cards were also in my Maybon reading that fully let me know this year that I was going to lose a very dear friend of mine because we are no longer friends anymore. But I told you, I knew that card, that tower card, I knew I was losing my dog in this calendar year. I knew it was coming when I got that reading.
So, quick
and the
question.
Chariot was part of that reading.
Yes.
Why do you read reversals? This is gonna be hold on. Let me just preface this. I don't. And
Not
this
everybody
is why. Does. And this is why. There are enough cards in the deck that if I need to get the reversal message of a card, I'll get it from some other cards.
Mm-hmm. It's a personal preference. I like reading the reversal cards, but the person who taught me did not read reversal cards at all.
Okay.
And had actually asked the same question. Well, you read reversal cards? So I think it's like a personal choice. Some people do, some people don't. Okay. Yeah, I have actually been asked that before, and yeah.
Because I'm very intuition led. Like I follow my intuition. It has literally saved my life more than one time. Absolutely.
Can I see your cards?
These cards?
Yeah. Do you mind if
sure. I'm very much an intuition led person. So like when I'm doing the oracle, I don't shuffle the cards and then cut the deck, put them back together, and pull the top card. I don't do that. Because I shuffle and I shuffle and I shuffle until the card that is meant for the person or me, whomever I'm pulling that card for. This is strictly just with Oracle. This is not how I do tarot. But I'm very intuitively led. So when that card tells me, like, grab this one that didn't go down in the deck right, I will pull that card. And again, because I am so intuitively led, my thought process on reversals, because I get where your question comes from, because my first thought is like, once the cards get messed up that first time you shuffle them,
right,
anytime it can be a reversal. But at the same time, if I'm supposed to be giving this message to this individual, I need to deliver the message the way it's being presented to me. Because I, in this moment, am just a conduit for whether it's my spirit guides, my ancestors, that person's spirit guides, that person's ancestors. I'm a conduit for the spirit of the universe that is coming through me. And I literally had a back and forth with myself internally, and discussion with spirit on whether or not reversals.
For me. I'm sorry. I pulled that twice and then it flipped around. I'm doing this for myself. I understand you're a shield. I'm not trying to zoom in.
But it's like this internal conversation I had between myself and spirit. And basically the conversation ended up in the standpoint of, if you felt like you were supposed to pull that card and you pulled it that way, then that's what you need to take away from the message being sent through you. Gotcha. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
See,
I literally had an internal back and forth, me and spirit. We just talked. I do that a lot.
You'd explained it a lot better than me, because I told my husband, what are the odds that it's going to be upside down, And my husband's a skeptic, so he says 1 in 75.
I made that joke last week in the messages.
God damn
it. Yeah. I mean, my husband may be a skeptic, but I will say that he's had a candle lit out there ever since Monday night. So, just like you were talking about with your grandma earlier and the whole folk magic, it does run deep whether you want it to or not.
So this one's for me because I felt entitled, or I'm called to do so. So the Fool reversed, making a rash decision. Ace of Hearts. What the hell is Ace of Hearts?
Ace of Hearts.
It's obviously
it's new, right? It's
or
like
relationship,
right? Brand new relationships.
It may not always be romantic, of course.
Right, platonic, just relationships. And then we have Death Reverse, which is which is
a change that you don't want. No, that's not.
I know. I'm like, yeah, wait,
that's the devil. Sorry, I was about to say addiction, and then I was like, no, that's the devil.
No, it's a change you don't want. And then we have the Princess of Swords, which is actually what?
The Page of Swords reversed is, I believe it's like kind of like losing.
This is a new deck, and so instead of having like page, they have princess. Instead of having knight, they have prince. So we're still learning it.
You gotta keep up mentally, like, with the difference between swords and, or not swords, but hearts and cups, and then the pages and the princesses and the knights and the princes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, oddly enough, you can do a reading with a playing deck.
Yes, I know.
My Jane Austen deck is reading, like, it's hearts and it's Cupid, or I'm sorry, it's hearts and it's diamonds and shit like that. What is it?
Lack of planning.
Which it goes along with the full.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the card?
The Page of Swords reversed.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that, because if it was upright, then that would be, a plan kind of coming to fruition. You'll be getting news that it's moving forward.
Well, I don't think this shit is for me. I'm going to be honest with you, because I have the Fool reverse, which is making rash decisions. Ace of Hearts, new ventures in love or platonic relationships. Then we have Death happening, reverse happening to let.
Wait, what was the card that went with the ace?
The Ace of Cups, the Fool reversed.
Oh, okay.
Right, you see how those two go together, right?
Oh no, it's not. It's a business relationship.
Oh, okay, yeah, and then we have Death reverse, which means happening to let go of something. Unfortunately, it's gonna be really shitty having to say goodbye to something you don't necessarily want to. And then we have the Page, the Page of Swords reverse, which is what?
It was lack of planning. Scatterbrain also was another word.
And then we have the Three of Swords. Prepare for disappointment. Now, reverse. Oh,
reverse. It's the betrayal card. Okay, so what is it reverse?
Maybe reverse. It is the betrayal card. It's the heartbreak card, but
but what it's less bad when it's reversed, right? It's like for a good reason. Like you're better off without whatever the fuck just broke your heart. I feel like. Right. Healing, forgiveness, recovery, reconciliation. So I guess it goes well with death, with moving on.
Right, and I don't think this one's for me. Does it go well with you?
Well, from the business relationship standpoint, I really don't feel it. I don't really know. I mean, obviously, Death Reverse and the Princess of Swords.
Well, that makes sense.
Could make sense with me, with my loss.
Well, and the Three of Swords is healing as well.
Right? Yeah.
So maybe.
I don't know.
Does that make sense to you?
Well, Death Reverse would, even though I don't read reversals, if I reverse what my meaning on it would be, it would be that you're staying the same. Because death is usually a transformational card, meaning that you're in a transformational phase. So if it's reversed, then you're staying in a rut, possibly.
But not all reversals, because I've studied this. Not all reversals are the exact counter to the upright meaning of a card.
Yeah.
Would you mind looking at Death reversed? I just want to make sure I personally remembered what I learned correctly, which would be like
because like we tried, but it's like you mentioned the traditional Rider-Waite.
That's what these definitions.
That's what these definitions are, because we wanted for our show, right? Like, because on our lives we use whatever deck we feel we want to that day. But for our lives, when we're doing paid tarot readings on our podcast, because on Witches Talking Tarot, obviously we talk about a lot of things, but it's called Witches Talking Tarot for a reason.
Right.
We have a Witches Talking Tarot spread that kind of lays out how your month or 4-week period is taking you. No pun intended on period, because men can get the reading too. But we wanted to have like a set, like we wanted we didn't want any fan deck influence on the card meanings. So we try to stick with the plain, regular Rider Waite to start, because eventually we have plans of other things, but I don't know if we want to announce that right here. So,
so this is a new deck. So it's always hard for me. Like, I always want to make sure.
So Death Reversed is inertia, sleep, lethargy, petrifaction, which is like afraid to move forward.
Yeah, okay, that's what I think.
Sleepwalking. Or hope destroyed, according to what we found.
Like
when
me,
make this better.
I actually already designed a deck, but it's based on crystals.
Okay, but like that's what I we're gonna announce is that this is our first preliminary. Eventually, we're going to make our own deck that Maddie writes and I create the art for, because she is a writer and I'm an artist.
Well, I might tap you to do the artwork. Because I have, I scour the internet, and it's a crystal based deck, because since they tend to go hand in hand, I found pictures of the crystals that I wanted, and I have it divided into 4 arcana, a major arcana, and a chakra. So it's like mental.
Very cool.
So like the arcanas are mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. So that way it can tap into pretty much any aspect of your life.
Right. It's very interesting. I love the chakra inclusion.
Yep. And that one
is not. Would it be like rose quartz?
He's like, don't guess things.
No. I like for the major arcana, it's all quartz, like different types of quartz, because quartz is a master crystal, and people are like, because like amethyst, okay, well, that's purple quartz, and then rose quartz, okay, that's pink quartz, rudolite quartz, okay, that's golden quartz. So it's just
when I think amethyst, I think like the Empress, but that's just me. Or I mean that's just me.
Well, interestingly, it's gonna be completely its own, like it's loosely based.
I get it, because that's how the Green Witch deck was. That's why I started studying how different books work, because the Green Witch deck that I started with, it was so different. Like the Empress, she's Mother Nature. She's not the Empress in the Green Witch deck.
Like there's no devil either.
There is no devil. There is no death. Yeah. Like it's like the Lord of Shadows is the death card, and nature is the devil card, because it doesn't have it's nature. Like the devil card relates to nature in the way that like nature giveth and nature taketh away. Like there's no good or bad to nature. Nature is nature. You know what I mean? And that's the way the energy for that card is presented in that deck. But like I get what you're saying, because like that deck didn't have the same major arcana at all.
Does it have like the
same?
I
say at all, but there were a couple of things that were the same.
Does it have like the same basic like definition, being like with the devil it's like addiction and things like that? Is that what that card means in that?
It doesn't mention addiction specifically in that deck at all, but
it might be temptation. It might have like mentioned
temptation, but really like in that card, temptation is mentioned, but it is presented as nature giveth and nature taketh away. Like nature, there's no good or bad to the things that happen. It's nature. Does that make sense? Like that's the energy that card gives off. I can't remember all the keywords for it, but in the definition for that card, that's the energy for the nature card in the Green Witch deck. Is life is it's cycles of good and bad. Nature, you get winter, you get summer. You know what I mean? Winter's hard to get through when you have to eat food and you can't grow food in the wintertime. Summer is easier to get through from that same standpoint. You know what I mean? Like, so it's presented with that kind of energy. it's very different, like the major arcana. So like I get what you're saying. Like it's not going to be, you're not going to have the magician, you're not going to have the hierophant, you're going to have your own titles for these cards.
And the message from the cards, it's going to be tied to the energy of that specific crystal. So that's why, like, I can't remember the fucking name of. I could picture the damn card, but it was just like a template, and it was the picture of the crystal, and like the text on it is "Pull your head out of your ass. Things aren't as bad as they seem."
I love it.
Down to earth. Oh, and it's crystals.
Bump.
So would it say then just amethyst? Like, it'll have a picture of amethyst, and then just say amethyst, and then the like little, because you know what I mean. Like, I've seen cards, like you and I both have cards where it's herbs instead, and you pull a card and there's a picture of like mugwort, and then it says mugwort as opposed to like the emperor.
Yeah, it's gonna name the crystal, so that way if somebody's really feeling that particular card, they can look up that crystal and maybe buy it for themselves if they really feel like that's what they need.
I really